They make a humorous statement in X-Men Apocalypse that this is the third movie in the franchise, so it's not going to be as good as number 1 and number 2. It's a referral in this movie. When the X-Men are coming out of a movie theater talking about Star Wars, well, the fact is that they lied to us. It is actually just as good as 1 and 2. This is a great way to end these 3 films about the youth who formed the first X-Men.
映画に行きたい気分です。楽しみにされています。
And we find out how Charles Xavier lost his hair in a battle with Apocalypse, who thinks of himself as a god. And the battle takes place in Charles Xavier's mind, because that is his turf, that is his weapons area. So it makes sense that Apocalypse would enter Charles' mind and battle him there in his consciousness. Apocalypse was was the first mutant, supposedly back in the time of the pyramids, which would date to around 2000 BC. And the movie opens up with this spectacular scene in which Apocalypse has grown old and he's about to die. So they're taking him down to a pyramid to bury him like they do the king. So obviously this is a very important man. He is the king of the Egyptians and whoever else is in that area, Samaria. And as they enter the tomb, Apocalypse with his four mutant crew, the Egyptians had other plans, that they were going to make sure that Apocalypse was never coming back, that they would collapse the pyramid around him. So they had secretly built his pyramid tomb, that the underpinnings of this tomb could easily be knocked out so that the pyramid would collapse down upon him and the mutants, because Apocalypse was about to become immortal by receiving the same healing properties that Wolverine has, and that should keep him alive forever. As he's about to undergo robbing another mutant of his healing powers, the Egyptians enact their sabotage and try to kill Apocalypse, which buries him until roughly the 1980s, or when he's discovered again just by accident by Charles Xavier's romantic interest. Xavier is quite taken with this girl who accidentally discovered Apocalypse's tomb and allowed light to enter the tomb and bring this mutant back to life again. So then there's this ensuing battle between Apocalypse, Charles Xavier's mutants, and Apocalypse decides that the humans have gotten too strong. They consider the mutants to be enemies, not friends, and it's time to get rid of the humans and allow nature to take its course again, and that way Apocalypse can be the god of the earth. He could be the strongest mutant. Apparently he wasn't the strongest mutant, because in a fight with Magneto, who turns upon his Apocalypse, he just can't beat him. It helps destroy Apocalypse. The most important aspect I found in this movie was Magneto's family life. He had left becoming an assassin of human beings and tried to remain anonymous in Poland with his wife and child, and this beautiful scene between him and his family, and living at peace and working in a steel mill, of course, but not using his mutant powers. Apparently his daughter had become a mutant. She had animal control powers. But the local humans, they find out about him, they know what he can do, and they come to arrest him and find out, are you actually Magneto and not this Polish steel worker? And it leads to this disaster in this most heart-wrenching scene, in which Magneto loses both his daughter and his wife in the same accident, because one of the guards who come to question Magneto accidentally kills both of them because the daughter's exercising her powers of control over animals to get the animals to attack the local authority that have come to investigate. It was, you don't think, when you watch this film, you don't see Magneto as being an enemy or a mankind or this vicious mutant at all. You actually feel for him, and you can understand why he behaves the way he does. It's like a double strike. He loses his personal family first time by the Nazis in the death camps, and then years later here he is losing his family again because authorities show up. Human authority shows up and accidentally kills them too. And you see Magneto going through a torturous hell and becoming what he is and just letting loose on his anger. And Apocalypse was able to tap into that and use him to, and saying, hey, let's destroy the humans, look what they've done to you. So he went up to these mutant children, and he enhanced their abilities same way he did with Magneto. He just enhances everybody's abilities so they can work with him with more ferocity. This is a very well put together film, very heart-wrenching to see Magneto's family die. This film brings you in, holds you, and we also get a cameo appearance from Hugh Jackman once again playing Wolverine. The X-Men had showed up in the lab to free their friends from Stryker, who picks them up. And Wolverine's there. It's the time when he's being held a prisoner, and we see him being rescued by the X-Men. Jean Grey helps get him out of prison, and she helps restore part of his memory, the part that she could restore. Then Wolverine charges off into the snow and ice. It is just perfect, and it looks so much like the comic book. That part looks so much like that comic book story. Also, we see the return of Quicksilver in this movie. That's the guy who everybody liked very much. Really cool type of character, someone that you'd like to hang out with. Quicksilver, it's a fantastic scene. He moves really quick. I mean, he moves like the Flash. He's the version of the Flash, I guess, or the Flash is a version of him. I don't know which came first. I can't remember now. But Quicksilver comes back and he saves the day. He's still living in his mom's basement as a loser, so he says to himself, this is 10 years later after we've seen him for the first time. And he gets in, saves the day. Cyclops' brother accidentally blows up the lab, and there's this huge, massive explosion, and we see Quicksilver running around the school, saving everybody in there because he's almost as fast as light. And he just drags everybody outside. There's this massive humorous scene of him committing these small acts of saving people and having fun doing it at the same time. It's just hilarious, but yet very engaging and so well done. Also, there's a lot of rumors here that Jennifer Lawrence wanted to lead the film, and you could tell by her acting in this, the way she acted in this movie. I don't find that to be the case. I could see Raven, her character Raven, being dead inside after the experiences that she went through, and not being loved, not having a family, that eventually that would kill her spirit, and she would just be completely immobilized by that and be dead inside. It made perfect sense for Jennifer Lawrence to show the character just acting straight and going through the motions sometimes, as she did. That did actually work. So the X-Men Apocalypse, fantastic movie. Another great one to add to the collection. There's nothing wrong with the third version. It's just as good as 1 and 2. And Apocalypse, in spite of being the first mutant and extremely powerful, is not as powerful as Magneto. And he was definitely not as powerful as Jean Grey, who through Charles Xavier's encouragement lets loose the Phoenix, that red-haired individual who has all this power, probably the most vicious but strongest mutant of all, and she just destroys Apocalypse. She just whips the hell out of him, rips off his armor, and tears into him. Once again, we see the formation of Xavier as his hair is actually burnt off in a fight with Apocalypse. You see it melt away, and so we find out why he's bald. X-Men Apocalypse, this is a great movie. You'll enjoy it. Very entertaining.